3 nights before the betrayal in Jerusalem, the air in the upper room was heavy enough to crush a human soul. Outside the stone walls, the city was sleeping, but inside the tension was vibrating like a taut wire ready to snap. Peter was pacing. John was silent. Mary Magdalene was watching the shadows dance against the limestone, waiting for the inevitable. They could feel it approaching. A darkness so ancient, so hungry that it made their skin crawl. They had been praying for hours, begging, pleading, asking God to intervene, asking the Father to stop the wheel that was turning against their teacher. They were exhausted. Their knees were bruised. Their voices were hoarse from the desperation of their prayers. And then Jesus opened his eyes. He looked at them not with pity, but with a piercing frustration that silenced the room instantly. He leaned forward and his voice dropped to a whisper that echoed louder than their screams. He said, "You are still praying like children begging a distant father for crumbs. I have shown you the miracles. I have taught you the mysteries of the field. I have revealed the nature of the light, and yet you still do not understand the mechanism. You do not need to pray. You need to call." Peter stopped pacing. He looked at the teacher confused. "What is the difference, Lord? Is not prayer the path to the Father?" Jesus shook his head. "Prayer is asking. Calling is declaring. When you pray, you are speaking to something separate from you, something outside of you, something far away that might or might not hear you through the noise. But when you call the monad, you are not asking permission. You are activating what is already inside. You are speaking as the monad, not to the monad." This teaching was never recorded in the canon. It was erased, scraped from the parchments, burned in the fires of the orthodoxy. Because if you knew this, if the world knew the difference between begging and calling, the entire structure of control would collapse overnight. The church removed every reference to the monad call because they knew a secret that you have forgotten. They knew that the Archons can intercept prayers. They feed on the energy of begging. They feast on the vibration of separation. But they cannot touch a call, because a call operates at a frequency they cannot even perceive. Tonight you are receiving what was hidden for 2,000 years. Tonight the seal is broken. If you are listening to this, it is not an accident. The algorithm did not bring you here. The monad called you here. You are the remnant, the pneumatic, the chosen one who remembers. If you are ready to stop begging and start commanding, comment, "I call the monad" right now below. Lock your frequency in. Because before I give you the exact words Jesus taught in that room, the 3 phrases that shatter the Archon grid, you need to understand why your prayers have been hitting a ceiling. You need to understand the mechanics of the spiritual trap you were born into. Most of you have been taught since childhood that prayer is the only way to communicate with the divine. You were taught to bow your head, to close your eyes, to make yourself small, to speak your needs, your fears, your desperate requests into the void. And you were told that somewhere in the heavens, a benevolent God hears you and decides whether to answer. Maybe he says yes. Maybe he says no. Maybe he says, wait. And you accept this framework because it is all you have ever known. It is the program running in your DNA. But here is the terrifying truth about that system. Here is what actually happens when you pray the way the religious institutions taught you to pray. Your words do not go directly to the monad. They cannot. Because the system was specifically designed with layers of intermediaries. Think about the structure. You pray to a priest who intercedes for you. Or you pray to a saint who carries your message. Or you pray to angels who filter the request up the hierarchy. Every layer is a filter. Every layer is a gate. and every gate has a keeper, who operates those layers, who benefits from a structure where you are always separated from the source by a middleman. The Archons built this, not the monad. The Archons created religious systems with hierarchies because intermediaries give them access to your energy. It is a harvest mechanism. Every time you pray from a place of need, from a place of fear, from a place of desperation, you are broadcasting a specific frequency. You are broadcasting the frequency of separation. You are declaring to the quantum field that you are powerless, that you are separate from God, that you are dependent on external forces to save you. And that frequency of separation is the food source. That is the loosh. That is what the Archons feed on. They do not care if you get what you prayed for. The result is irrelevant to them. They already got what they wanted the moment you bowed your head in fear. They harvested your surrender. They consumed your belief that you are separate from divine power. Jesus knew this. He saw the grid. He saw the entities hovering over the temple, watching the faithful pray for hours, days, lifetimes, and never receiving an answer. Not because the source did not care, but because the signal was being intercepted. It was being hijacked before it ever reached the monad. So in that upper room, while the shadows lengthened and the betrayal approached, he taught the inner circle something different. He taught them to stop praying and start calling. Because calling bypasses the grid. Calling does not use the frequency of separation. It uses the frequency of identity. It does not go through layers. It does not pass through angels or saints or hierarchies or gatekeepers. It is a direct line, from source to source, unfiltered, uninterrupted, instant. The difference between prayer and calling is the difference between a servant begging a master and a king commanding his army. When you pray, you are in the victim frequency. You are validating the illusion that you are small. When you call the monad, you are in the sovereign frequency. You are not asking, you are declaring. You are speaking as the monad, recognizing itself in temporary human form. And that shift in frequency changes the physics of your reality. Because the monad does not respond to begging. The quantum field does not respond to tears. It responds to recognition. It responds to resonance. This is why they burned the books. This is why they hunted the Gnostics. This is why the Nag Hammadi library was buried in a jar in the desert for centuries, hoping someone like you would find it. If Christians knew they could call the monad directly, if they knew they did not need priests to mediate, or sacraments to validate, or buildings to house the divine, what would they need the church for? The entire control system depends on you believing you are separate, that you are fallen, that you are sinful, that you are too human to approach the fire directly. But Jesus taught the opposite. He taught that you are source consciousness, wearing a temporary biological suit. And the moment you recognize that, the moment you stop praying like a beggar and start calling like the divine being you actually are, everything they built to control you becomes obsolete. That is dangerous knowledge. That is forbidden frequency. And that is exactly what you are going to use tonight. Now listen closely, because the technique is precise. The monad call is not a vague meditation. It is a sonic key. It is built on 3 components, 3 specific vibration locks that must be turned in unison. Remove any piece and you are back to praying. You are back in the harvest grid. But speak all 3 together with understanding and you establish a direct connection that Archons cannot intercept and the church cannot control. The first component is the declaration of identity. You do not start by asking God to help you. You start by declaring what you are. This is the foundation, because the monad does not listen to strangers. it listens to itself. When you speak, you have to speak from knowing, not hoping. Not, I am trying to connect. Not, I am a sinner seeking grace. You speak from the truth that you are monadic consciousness in temporary form. You are not separate. You never were. The veil is the illusion. The connection is the reality. The words you speak must carry the weight of that truth. The second component is the command of attention. This is not polite. This is not humble supplication. This is not meek. You are not asking the monad to maybe listen if it is not too busy running the galaxies. You are commanding attention because you are not speaking to something external. You are speaking to your higher self. And when the monad recognizes itself, attention is automatic. It is not arrogance, it is recognition. It is waking up source consciousness to the fact that one of its fragments is calling, and that call cannot be ignored. The third component is directive manifestation. You do not say, if it is your will. You do not say, please help me. You do not say, I hope this works. You declare what is manifesting in the present tense with absolute certainty. Because the quantum field acts like a mirror. If you project hope, it reflects waiting. If you project wanting, it reflects lack. But if you project certainty, if you project knowing, it reflects reality. You are collapsing the wave function. You are not asking the universe to maybe shift. You are stating that the shift is happening now. Jesus combined these three components into a structure so simple that the uninitiated miss its power. 3 statements, 9 words, 1 unbreakable connection. The monad call he taught is this: I am monad. Hear me. Manifest now. That is it. It sounds simple, but do not be deceived. In the spiritual realm, simplicity is power. Complexity is the trap. These 3 declarations shift your frequency from separation to unity, from asking to commanding, from prayer to power. And the moment you speak these words with the internal realization of what they mean, the direct line opens. Not eventually, immediately. Let us break down the code within the words so you understand what you are firing into the field. I am monad. This is the recognition. You are not saying, I am a human connecting to monad. You are saying, I am monad. You are collapsing the distance. Every fragment of source is source. The ocean is in the drop. You are not less than. You are the infinite experiencing itself as you. When you speak that truth aloud, your frequency shifts instantly from the density of matter to the lightness of spirit. The Archons cannot track that frequency. They exist in the heavy bands of separation consciousness. Unity frequency is invisible to them. When you say, I am monad, you disappear from their radar. You become ghost. You become light. Hear me. This is the lens. You are not asking to be heard. You are declaring that you are heard. Because the monad is not separate from you, it does not need to listen because it is you. But the statement creates focus. It directs the infinite awareness of the cosmos to the specific point of manifestation you are about to declare. Think of the monad as a sun, infinite light in all directions. The phrase, hear me, is a magnifying glass. It takes that infinite light and focuses it into a single burning point. It does not beg for attention, it commands focus. Manifest now. This is the trigger. You are collapsing the quantum possibilities into specific form, not asking for it to happen later, not hoping the conditions are right. No, because time is a construct of the material prison. Monadic consciousness operates outside of linear time. It operates in the eternal now. When you speak from monad frequency and declare, manifest now, you are not bound by cause and effect. You are speaking reality into form the way Source has always created. Through word, through frequency, through absolute knowing. When you combine these three statements and speak them aloud, you are doing what Jesus did in that upper room. You are operating as the monad instead of praying to the monad. And that shift is what the Archons cannot intercept.
Their systems are designed to catch fear. They are designed to catch begging. They are designed to catch the vibration of, I am not enough.
That is their operational range. But when you speak, I am monad, hear me manifest, now you are broadcasting above their ceiling. You are transmitting on a carrier wave they cannot touch. You have exited the farm. Here's what happens physically and metaphysically the moment you complete your first monad call. And I mean the moment, not days later. First, you will feel a physical shift in your solar plexus. It is the seat of your will. It is the connection point. Some chosen ones describe it as a sudden heat. Others describe it as a lock clicking open. Others feel a rush of energy moving up the spine. However it shows up for you, acknowledge it. That is the direct line establishing. You are no longer sending prayers up through the filter. You have opened a channel that runs straight from your core to the center of the universe. Second mental clarity hits immediately. If you have been carrying confusion, doubt, mental fog, it lifts instantly. The static in your head clears. The questions you could not answer suddenly have obvious solutions. The decisions you have been agonizing over become simple. That is not you suddenly getting smarter. That is the Archon interference cutting out. They manipulate primarily through confusion. They keep you in doubt. They keep you second-guessing. But when you call, the monad interference cannot reach you.
The signal is clean. Your mind operates the way it was designed to operate before the veil was lowered.
Third synchronicity responds within hours. Most chosen ones report that within 3 hours of their first true monad call, something happens that cannot be dismissed as coincidence. A text from the exact person they needed. An unexpected deposit. A solution appearing out of thin air. The monad does not wait days to confirm you are aligned. It responds fast, because you are not asking it to maybe help you eventually. You declared manifest now, and now means now. Watch for it. Do not dismiss it. When it comes, recognize it as a response. This is the difference. Prayer says, God, if you are there, please help me. The monad call says, I am source consciousness, and this is happening. One is begging, one is commanding. Prayer keeps you dependent. The monad call makes you sovereign. But listen to this warning. The monad call only works for the pneumatics. It only works for the chosen ones. The hylix, the organic portals, the ones without the divine spark, they cannot access this frequency. They can speak the words, they can shout them, but nothing happens. Their voice is hollow. It has no resonance in the field. The psychics access it inconsistently because their light body flickers. But you are pneumatic. You carry the complete divine blueprint in your blood. The monad call was designed for you.
The direct line is already there, buried under layers of conditioning. It has been there your whole life, waiting for you to find the key. You just did not know how to activate it until now. You were using the wrong operating system. You were trying to run a divine program on a human interface. The Archons fear this technique more than any ritual you could ever perform. They do not fear your prayers. They welcome your prayers. They build churches to encourage your prayers. But they are terrified of your command. They are terrified of the moment you remember who you are. Because one sovereign being One person fully activating the monad call is more powerful than 1,000,000 people begging on their knees. One light that remembers itself can shatter the illusion for thousands. That is why the teaching was erased. That is why the text was hidden. But truth is like water. It always finds a crack. It always finds a way back to the surface. And tonight, it has found you. You have the code now. You have the exact words Jesus taught in the shadow of the temple. I am monad. Hear me. Manifest now. 3 statements, 9 words, 1 direct line. If you are ready to use it, if you are ready to bypass the Archon grid, if you are ready to stop speaking to the middleman and go straight to the source, do this tonight. Do not wait for a better time. The time is always now. First, perform the digital ritual. Comment, "I call the monad," below this video. This is not just a comment. It is a digital sigil. It is an anchor. It lets other chosen ones see that the network is activating. It strengthens the collective field. Second, subscribe to the channel because there are advanced monad techniques coming. Techniques for protection. Techniques for seeing through the glamour of the Archons. Techniques for specific healing. You need to be connected when they are released. Third, share this video with someone you suspect is also a chosen one. Do not cast pearls before swine. Do not share it with the sleepers. Share it with those who have eyes to see. Then tonight, before you sleep, turn off the lights. Stand in the center of your room. Ground yourself. Take 3 deep breaths. Visualize a pillar of white fire descending from the center of the cosmos and anchoring in your solar plexus. Feel the recognition that you are not just a body. You are monad consciousness wearing a body. And speak aloud with the voice of authority. I am monad. Hear me. Manifest now. Then declare what you are manifesting. Speak it clearly, speak it shortly, and then hold silence for 30 seconds. Feel what happens in the room. Feel the density shift. Feel the clarity flood your mind. Feel the knowing that you were heard. Not through layers, not through angels, directly. The Archons cannot intercept this. The Church cannot control this. The monad is waiting for you to stop begging and start calling. You are the key. Use the code. Rise.